All right, so this is going to take us to Venn diagrams. And, some problems they'll give you the Venn diagram, case in point in example 4. And sometimes you have to come up with your own Venn diagram. That is more challenging, of course, than be given the Venn diagram. So in example 4, I'm not feeling the green. I'm going to go with orange. Example 4, it says 130 people. Okay, so that is very important. Let me go ahead and highlight that actually. Were surveyed about the news sources that they used on a regular basis. The results are given in the Venn diagram. T is for television, so I'm just going to write that. I is for internet. N is for newspapers. And 6 is neither, or none, I guess maybe I should say, since it's more than. None of the 3. So that could be like, I don't know. They get it from their grandma. They don't care about news. They listen to the radio kind of thing. So if I were to take the time and add up all of these values, which let me just go ahead and just do. So I'm going to do 20 plus 12 plus 29 plus 8 plus 18 plus 22 plus 15 plus 6. I get 130. So that I know they have done a good job. That is true of any Venn diagram, especially when you're creating your own. Make sure you add up all the numbers and it actually adds up to how many people were actually surveyed. So now I'm going to ask, how many people use the internet actually? Well, if I'm looking at this Venn diagram, it looks like 29 people use it solely. 12 people use it as well as television. 8 people use it as well as television and newspapers. And 22 people use it with newspapers. So to make sense of that, I am looking at the entire circle for I, and I'm adding all of those up. And if I take that time and do that, so 29 plus 12 plus 8 plus 22, I end up getting 71. Now I'm going to go ahead and go to the next question, which says how many people used at least 2 of the 3 sources. So let me go ahead and get rid of that. All right, I'm going to use my highlighter again. So at least 2. So if I look here, that's using television and internet. So then I know 12 is, because at least, it can use more, but it has to be at least 2. That 22 is internet and newspaper. This 18 is television and newspaper. And this 8 is all 3. Hopefully that makes sense to you because that's where all 3 of their circles are overlapping. But because they said at least, I can include that. If it just said just 2, I wouldn't put it in, but it said at least. So this gives me 12 plus 22 plus 18 plus 8 gives me 60. How many people didn't use any newspapers? So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of these guys so it doesn't get confusing. It's nice to have a tablet so you can do that. Okay, no newspapers. So I don't want anything that is in the circle of the N. So that looks like, okay, that's outside the circle, that's outside the circle, that's outside the circle, and that one's outside the circle. So it looks like it's going to be 20 plus 12 plus 29 plus 6. So 20 Plus 12 plus 29 plus 6, I get 67. These can get a little challenging, so I just want to encourage you to please reach out if you have any questions. And when you do reach out, maybe send a picture of your work or something so I can go off something. All right, now let's get to the good stuff. They don't give you a Venn diagram and you have to create your own. So a survey asks 200 people. Just remember, when you add up your entire Venn diagram, it cannot be over 200. This is the biggest mistake we make. And all of a sudden you have like 500 people because you've been putting numbers everywhere. We asked 2 questions. Do you have a cat or do you have a dog? 80 responded they have a dog. 105 said they have a cat. And 35 said they own both. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to give myself a universal set. And I'm either going to ask, do they have a dog? Or do they have a cat? I wish my circles were a little bit better. So here's my dog circle. Here's my cat circle. And just to get us good with terminology, I'm going to put a U here for my universal set. This is the key thing. Always start from the very inside and work it out. So 35 say they own both. This is the key thing. Always start in the both section and then work your way out. All right, now it says 105 say they have a cat. Well, this entire circle has to add up to 105. So that's why I'm going to do 105, take away 35. So only 70 solely own a cat. Because in that 105 is including the both. So if you were to put 105 in the circle, you would be overcounting. And so if I go over to this one, dog, it says 80 responded they have a dog. Well, now it's 80, take away the both, and you end up getting 45. And so to check your work, if you did 45 plus 35, great, we have 80 own a dog. If we do 35 plus the 70, we have 105 that own a cat. Well, if I go ahead and add up all of my values, so I have let me go ahead and get rid of this guy. I got 45, 35, and 70. So 45, 35, 70. If I do that in my calculator or in my head, if you're smarter than me, you get 150. All right. Ask yourself, though, how many people were surveyed? 200. So that means 50 of those people do not own either a cat or a dog. So to make sure you did this right, you go ahead and you do 45 plus the 35 plus the 70 plus the 50. And what do you know? You end up getting 200. So it works out. So now, how many people own a cat or dog? So remember, my or is the inclusive, okay? So I want to say, okay, they own a cat. So if they just own a dog, or they own both, or they own a cat. And you could have saved yourself time and just been like, well, Stephanie, it's just the leftover of 200 from 50. That works too. All right, let's do one more to make sure it makes sense. So in example 6, a survey of 100 college students were asked if they use Instagram or Facebook. So 73 said they use Instagram. 46 say they use Facebook, and 30 use both. So I'm going to go ahead and go here. give myself a universal set, which for us is college students. They specified before. They didn't. I could put people if I wanted to. And I'm either college students are going to use Facebook or college students are going to use Instagram. Or neither. Remember, the key thing is always start with both. So it looks like 30 use both. From that, 46 use Facebook. So that means 16 solely use Facebook, right? Because the 16 plus 30 gives me that 46. And 73 use Instagram. So 73 take away that 30 gives me the 43. All right, so again, if you were to go ahead and look just at your Facebook circle, that gives me the 46, so that checks out. If you were just going to look at your Instagram circle, that gives me the 73, so that checks out. Now let's see how much we have left over, or how many we have left over. So if I add those all up, I end up getting 43 plus 30 plus 16, 89. But 100 college students were surveyed, right? So we end up getting 11 of those 100 use neither. I bet it's way more now. I feel like people are getting away from social media, but maybe I'm wrong and I'm old. So now, again, let me back up. I want to make sure I did this right. So I'm going to take a moment to do 16 plus 30 plus 43 plus 11. Awesome. It does give me 100, so it's working out. Now, that's the hardest part, because now you can answer these without doing much work. How many use Facebook only? Oh, great. 16. Don't even have to do anything. How many use Instagram only? 43. And how many use neither? 11. So key thing is start with both and work your way out. And then always, actually, I'm just going to take a moment to just show that work, to check your work. 16 plus 30 plus 43 plus 11. That does equal 100, so we're good.